Ghostwire Tokyo isn't the longest open-world game out there, but it's still packed full of items to collect, enemies to fight, and secrets to find. When first starting out, it can be all a bit much to take in, but fret not, we've compiled a healthy list of tips and tricks to get you started off right in your adventures through Tokyo. A no-brainer, but one worth pointing out, Chapter 1 is very short and the world doesn't really open up until you begin Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is also where you basically get all of Akito's powers, so a recommendation is to try and ignore the many side activities and progress through a bulk of Chapter 2, so that way you'll have access to more of Akito's arsenal before you start taking on side quests. Even when you're ready to start exploring on your own, you'll constantly run into a toxic fog that blocks your progress. To try and disperse some of this, seek out Torii shrines to clear them out. You can't unlock the entire map early on, as most shrines don't appear until you've progressed further in the story, but clearing what you can will definitely help. When exploring Shibuya, there are lots of things to do. First, you're going to have to find loose spirits to transfer literally everywhere. You can only hold as many spirits as you have Katashiros on your person, but while you start out with a few, vendors will sell you more. They're pretty expensive, but honestly money is never an issue in Ghostwire Tokyo. So try and buy as many as possible so you don't have to stop by a phone booth every 10 minutes, or worse yet, miss out on them when there are no phone booths around. If you do find yourself low on cash and needing to earn some in a hurry, check your quest tab to see if you have any Relic Quests. These are simple side objectives that earn you a bunch of mica. You can even track all of them at once to complete them all quickly. Akito has a sort of finishing move once an enemy has taken enough damage where he can absorb their core. It's highly recommended that you try and absorb their core as it grants you a quick kill and gives you more XP. Absorbing their core isn't absolutely required, you could just shoot the enemy a few times to take it down. And sometimes that's best, since absorbing a core takes time and can be interrupted, meaning it leaves you open to attack. There's a few skills to help with this, such as speeding up core absorption time and being able to rip out a core in melee range, which can't be interrupted. Using the exposure talisman can also help expose cores much faster as well. Also, if multiple enemies are set to have their core removed, you can actually absorb more than one at a time if the enemies are somewhat near each other. But watch out, the staggered state won't last forever. In the heat of battle, you'll need to be monitoring both your ammo and consumables for your health. If you're running low on ammo, look out for cars and other items that are floating and destroy them with a melee or even a wind blast. If the resources they drop are too far, hold your aim button and it will pull the resources to you. As for consumables, Akito can equip one regular food and drink item for healing and one spectral food item for healing and a temporary buff. Tap triangle to switch between the three, and when you exhaust all of one item, another one will auto-equip in its place. Shibuya is home to a lot of activities and world events to take part in. There's a ton of collectibles to find that will boost Akito's powers, as well as dogs and cats around that can be mind-read to give you hints. Also, if you're carrying dog food, feeding a dog will almost certainly reward you with some money. There's also a bunch of collectibles scattered around, all of which will boost your powers in one way or another. Most important of the bunch are KK's investigation notes, which reward you with skill points. You'll eventually receive sleuth prayer beads that can help track these down. With so many collectibles and side quests found in Ghostwire Tokyo, it won't be long before your world map gets incredibly busy. Luckily, you can filter out icons you don't want to see, and most importantly, you can click a box that simply removes icons for tasks you've already completed to really reduce the clutter. For a measly 200 mica, you can visit a shrine shop and draw a paper fortune known as a Omi Kuji. Doing so will grant Akito a fortune that gives you a temporary buff, or debuff depending on your luck, ranging from a triple XP boost while also making you invincible to enemy attacks, to reducing Akito's HP down to just 1. They're almost always worth a purchase, since out of the 8 possible fortunes, only 2 are inherently negative. One being that enemies just spawn more around you, so hey, free XP. World events come in a few different forms. One sees the visitors channeling energy into a cube of trapped souls to send them into the abyss. Preventing this will reward you with a bunch of souls. A great strategy to use here is to wait for the visitor to start their channel and just running up behind them for an easy stealth kill. Another world event is a big ghost parade that sucks Akito into an arena to fight off a horde of visitors. Take them all down to give yourself a nice chunk of spirits. Shibuya is filled to the brim with side quests. Almost every time you progress the story even a little bit, 3 to 4 more side quests will pop up. But don't worry, while some can be a tad bit lengthier, most of these side quests take mere minutes to complete. We like to think of them as more of short errands than full-on quests. With that in mind, we recommend you don't pass these up. They're so short and often have pretty good rewards, so they're almost always worth taking a few minutes detour if you have the time. Lastly, Shibuya's map is actually on the smaller side than most open-world games, but that's because it's also very vertical. There's a way up to the top of almost every skyscraper, and you'll always be rewarded for your troubles. In Chapter 2, you'll get a glide ability that you can even power up to last longer to help you jump from building to building. And don't worry, there's absolutely no fall damage, so jumping from atop a skyscraper all the way to the ground is no problem at all. We also recommend looking into spending some skill points to make your glide last even longer to really help with jumping from building to building. Those were just a few things to help you get started on your adventure through Tokyo. If this video helped you out, make sure to shout it out in the comments below, and of course, for everything else Ghostwire Tokyo, make sure to stick with IGN.